Good morning, it's March 13th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Inflation is here, and it's not going away anytime soon. In my opinion, it was propelled by the massive spending by the administration and Congress over the past 2 years. Using the guise of the COVID pandemic, Democrats decided it was an opportunity to put in place all of the government largesse programs on their wish list. They expanded it as fast as they could. The result is a burgeoning national debt and runaway cost increases for the most basic of things we need to live. Now, if you listen to the White House, everything is fine. Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House spokeswoman, I'm not sure I'm allowed to call her a woman, will tell you that the president's actions on inflation are having an effect and the public will soon realize what a good job he's doing. But let's take a look at some of the facts. Grocery bills have been skyrocketing with no real end in sight. Taking a look at some of the basic staples, we will see the following prices from January 21 to January 2023. A dozen eggs went from $1.65 to $4.87, a 250% increase. Milk went from $3.21 to $4.20, that's a 28% increase. Bread from $1.55 to $1.89, 22% increase. Butter from $3.41 to $4.88, a 35% increase. And bacon, and who doesn't like bacon, went from $5.87 a pound to $6.80, and that's a 21% increase. Overall, the price of your average grocery bill has gone up 23% in the past 2 years. Now, I enjoy a great salad, but the price of lettuce has jumped 9%, and where they used to sell it by the head, some stores are now selling it by the pound. Now, if you think this will ease up, and the only ones that do are those drinking the Kool-Aid the White House is dishing out, then you should look at the Department of Agriculture's predictions. And I'm, quote, in 2023, all food prices are predicted to increase 7.9%, with a prediction interval of 5.5% to 10.3%. Food at home prices are predicted to increase 8.6%, with a prediction interval of 5.6 to 11.8%, end quote. That's from the Department of Agriculture, which is charged with making these kind of analysis. Now, I'm surprised the White House did not try to tamp down comments like this from the department, but the problem with that, this would be normal information, which, as I said, is disseminated by the Department of Agriculture on a regular basis. But inflation is hitting hard at the grocery stores, and this impacts those living paycheck to paycheck the most. It hits the hardest at lower income people who must spend a larger portion of their monthly income on the basics of food. It also impacts their diet as they have to forego more healthy choices just to feed their families. They continue to be impacted on the energy front as well. Electricity has jumped 10% since Biden took office. Gas for their cars has come down somewhat from the highs, but still remains much higher per gallon than before Biden was elected. And despite the president foolishly releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in an effort to suppress these high gas prices, the prices are once again ticking up. His war on fossil fuel has cost the American consumer dearly, and in a sign that he may be blinking, the reports are that he will allow the Willow Project to the National Petroleum Reserve that's located on the north slope of Alaska. And apparently he gave that go-ahead this morning. It's going to be a decision that will cause the environmentalists and the green energy proponents to have what can only be described as a hissy fit. They will come out in force proclaiming their opposition. That decision appears to be one more in his move to announce that he's running for re-election. Now, you should know the Willow Project has the full support of just about everyone in Alaska. I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm talking about the people. But you can be assured that Biden's approval is aimed at his chance of being reelected. Gas prices, which have slowly come down, as I said, suddenly jumped 2.4% in January, and now as we head into the prime driving season, you can expect more increases. The part of inflation that is critical and does not seem to be cooling off as fast as others is the cost of shelter. And basically this means that rent costs continue to be high. And this affects two voting blocks critical to Democrats, young people and lower income people. These are the two groups most likely to be renting. And to give you some examples, the overall CPI for January was 0.5% and rent increased by 0.7%. The bottom line is inflation is still here and is still much stronger than the administration likes to admit. Karine Jean-Pierre can give us some word salad responses and peer into her binder searching for an answer, but the American public can look at their pocketbook and know that they're being priced out of many things they would normally purchase. The president's budget for 2024 shows that he's not backing off from spending programs, and his solution is to raise someone else's taxes, according to him, the wealthy, so that he can spend more money on programs that he wants to either introduce or fund. He ignores that the spending in the past has been a major contributor to inflation we're all suffering with and marches on. He ignores that some of the social entitlement programs are in dire financial straits, and absent some form of major reform will eventually run out of money, and no amount of tax increase will be able to solve them. So buckle up for a rocky 2023 and even rockier 2024 as the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates and inflation keeps pricing us out of the market, and your trips to the grocery store will leave you in more and more shock. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, hit the subscribe button and recommend it to your friends.